Hello, thank you for joining us with Train for Success. This is Sylvester Lane with my co-host, Cody Askins.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining.
We're so happy to have you guys here for this Thursday. Hopefully it's Thursday afternoon when you're listening. We understand that some of you are probably listening in your car on a Friday or even Saturday. Hopefully your week went well. Hopefully your week is finishing strong. Cody, how's your week going?
It's going good. We're getting a lot of... we're having a lot of success with our program. We have several agents putting up $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 every single week. It's very rewarding, and we're getting a lot of calls. I just got a call 10 minutes ago about an agent out in California that wants to look into potentially joining our program. So, I mean, when you do good things, when you treat people right, good things happen.
Right. For you that don't know, we work for Secure Agent Mentor and secureagentmentor.com. You can find all of our resources, more about us there. We enjoy helping agents hit that six-figure lifestyle. Cody hit it at a very young age. And
19.
I
think I was 20 when I officially hit the six-figure mark, but it was started in the insurance business at 19.
That's crazy. And one of the coolest things is Cody used to have a Challenger with the nicest rims and the fastest car I've ever ridden in my life, and was able to pay it off in a summer.
Yeah, I told my parents I'd pay the car off by the end of the summer. I bought it in the spring, and I paid off a $42,500 vehicle using the tips, tools, resources, and strategies that we give in these podcasts.
It's impressive. We're going over a topic that a lot of agents don't do anymore. It seems like it is. It's a lost art. I mean, yeah. It really, really is. It's crazy because that's something that a lot of agents used to do a lot of. Right. It seems like since the invention of the internet, since the invention of the cell phone, it's come down to not being the way you sell. But back in the 70s and 80s, like...
Even 90s. When my dad used to sell his first sales job 30 years ago. Late teenager, 18, 19, whatever, was selling furniture door to door out of a box full of pictures.
Which is crazy when you think about it. People buying thousands of dollars worth of furniture and never even being able to sit on it, to touch it, to really know the manufacturer, actually.
Just pictures. How incredible of a salesman do you have to be to sell a tangible product without the tangible product?
Right. That's why we call him the GOAT.
That's
we
right.
Truly call him the GOAT. The topic we're going to go over today is door knocking. For you that couldn't catch on to what we were talking about, like what the world are these cats talking about, door knocking, at least in my sales experience, is probably one of the most effective ways actually to sell. And there's a lot of art that goes into it. Wouldn't you agree?
I would completely agree. And you may not want it to be 100% of your business all day, every day, but it's a great way to fill in the gaps, knock on some leads you haven't got a hold of, and creatively still get in front of people.
Right. I definitely like it when your appointment stands you up and you have that hour and a half or that hour, depending on how much time you set apart for them. And now what do? Well, they might not be home, but their neighbors might be home.
Absolutely.
So hopefully through this, we plan to go through a couple of strategies and tips, how to approach it, what mindset you need to be in, all those things that is going to make you successful in the field. The first is a mindset.
You have to have a positive, enthusiastic mindset and assume that every person, every door you knock on, number one, you got to assume they're going to answer. Number two, you got to assume that they want you to be in their home. And number three, you have to assume that they always want to be sold. And so that's kind of something I started, it's kind of my mindset when I first started is, because if we don't assume that something's going to happen, why should we assume that they're going to expect for that to happen whatsoever? And so if we don't confidently assume something, they won't assume that it's going to happen.
So on another side of that, is there anything that you do to get yourself psyched up, to get pumped up?
What's funny is I made what I called my six-figure I do two different things. I used to have my I still have it, my 6-figure. Anyone that wants it, email me at cody.askins@secureig.com. Again, cody.askins@secureig.com. I'll shoot you my playlist. And that playlist was I called it my 6-figure sales motivation. And it was about 21 songs that I would listen to before a sale. And not to be negative, but I even had songs that I played after a sale. The old Adele song, I'll Find Someone Like You. I played that after every person that told me no and didn't buy. And it's funny because she sings, never mind, I'll find someone like you. And so it's just like, you know what? We're being respectful, but never mind, we're going to find someone else. It's a positive way of saying, who's next?
I like that. Short-term memory,
Exactly.
is one of the most important things in sales. Developing that mindset that just because they didn't buy doesn't mean the next person won't buy. Or just because the 5 before didn't buy doesn't mean that next one won't be that $1 million case you're looking for.
Exactly. And you brought up a good point there. If we let that negative short-term deal affect us, we could take it into the next appointment, into the next sale, into the next close, and it could cost us money. So we've got to we've got to be able to flip a switch, so to speak. We got to stay positive, enthusiastic, and have an extreme short-term memory.
Now, with that, can you explain some of the different types of door knocks for people that haven't necessarily done it before? Because not every house is the same.
Yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of different door knocks. You could start off by saying, okay, there's just a cold knock where you're knocking on a home, or our secret and favorite places to knock, which I know we'll get into a little more, are the senior housing areas. Senior housing, Section 8 housing, those kind of places. You can knock those. You can knock old leads. You can knock new final expense lead cards that a lot of our agents do and have a lot of success. A guy down in Louisiana knocking cards, putting up $2,500 to $3,000 a week, and he'll probably listen to this podcast. He's a super agent, I mean, he's just great at what he does, and he just outworks people. There's a lot of different things you can knock. You can knock turning 65. We have an agent here in Springfield, Missouri that knocks turning 65. And what's funny is, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Every time he goes and knocks at least 25 homes, he makes a sale for people that are actually turning 65. After because he normally mails them a mail piece, follows up with a knock. And so there's tons of ways to make money in this business, tons of different avenues to knock. The key is you just got to know what to say and what to do.
Right? That actually reminds me of one of our local agents. He actually, if he takes an appointment more than like an hour away from our office, he'll actually buy leads that are about 3 years old.
Yeah.
And if the appointment isn't there, or he has a little extra time in between the appointments he set up, he'll actually just knock on people's door and say, hey, 2 years ago, you were interested in some insurance. I don't know if you got it or not. But if it's something that you still need to do, I'd love to sit down and show you what we do.
And that's a phenomenal point, because we want to be, and I'll always be transparent. We've got thousands of little tips and tricks just like that. And he uses Life Leads Direct. I don't mind saying who it is. We're here to help people, whether you end up becoming an agent of ours or not, doesn't matter. As long as it helps you make some money, we're in. He uses Life Leads Direct. He buys leads that are anywhere from 60 days old to 3 years old, and he knocks them near an appointment that he already has.
And it seems to be
success with it.
Yeah, it seems to be crazy successful for him. You mentioned one of our agents that knocks 25 doors will make a sale. Can you go a little bit more into the numbers that we're seeing?
Yeah, that's off of a T65 knock after a mail piece, that kind of thing. Depending on whether it's 100% cold and you're door knocking senior housing, I know that about every 50 knocks that I make to a cold door, no mail card, no lead card, none of that, as long as I'm knocking senior housing areas, I'm going to make a sale on average every 50 doors that I knock. Now you say, well, I could, and I've been 80 doors without making a sale, but then that on average, when I get to 100, I'm going to probably have 2 sales. And so it averages out to be about 50 doors equals a sale. Then you've also got the numbers of, okay, well, how many knocks does it take to get a sale? Well, generally you can get in about 1 out of every 10, and then you can sell about 1 out of every 5 of those, which equals about 1 out of every 50 that you knock, you will sell. So that's kind of the numbers behind just cold knocking senior homes. With our lead cards, we have agents that sell as high as 40. They sell about 4 to 5 policies for every 10 lead cards that they get. And we're getting them 10 lead cards for as little as a couple $100.
Right, which is phenomenal numbers in return on your investment for anybody that's tried a lead drop before.
We've got some huge discounts for those. And they always submit at least a couple grand. Anytime you can 10x an investment, that's ridiculous.
Right. And one of the things we believe as Secure Agent Mentor is, consistency. Consistency in what you do, consistency in how you say it, consistency in how you work. Because we believe with consistency, your numbers will grow and your numbers will steadily increase. Mm-hmm. What kind of time consistency going into a door knocking period would you set up?
I say it always takes me... what's funny is some days I can go out and knock 50 doors in 2 hours. Or some days I can't knock 20 homes in an entire day. Because it depends on how many homes I get in, how many are home, how many times they get in, how much I answer. I always tell our agents, set like a time goal, because the knock is going to vary on a daily basis. Some days you can knock. Some days I've knocked like 6 homes and spent 12 hours in the field. That's because I'm slam dunking a touchdown every time I knock on a door. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're all buying, and so it varies. But we always say put in about 4, if this is kind of what you do, if it's the backbone of your business, put 4, 5, 6 hours a day at least. Sometimes some agents do 8, 10, 12 hours. Just have a time goal. I mean, if you can put in 4, 5, 6 hours a day into knocking, you'll see consistent success.
Right. With that, make sure you drink tons of water, stress the muscles.
Especially right now.
Right, with the 100-degree temperature. And I say that because sometimes if you're not used to walking that much or knocking and standing on your feet, after a couple days of it, your body, you're going to wake up one day, and you're going to take a step, and you're going to fall on your face on the floor because you haven't stretched.
Well, it sounds silly, but you bring up a good point, because if we think about it, if how we feel reflects in how we sell. If I eat garbage all day, and I love Taco Bell and I love soda, but if I eat Taco Bell and drink soda all day, every day, I'm going to eventually be sick. Right. I'm going to eventually not perform as well as I know Cody Askins can perform. And so if we take care of ourselves, and if we feel good, and if we feel knowledgeable, if we feel good and we feel like we are inputting knowledge, consistent knowledge into ourselves, and our body feels good, you can do some remarkable things compared to someone that's not thinking like a winner psychologically.
Right, and that brings us in perfectly into our next point. Can you explain your process? So we've set up the mindset, we've identified the type of door knocking we're doing, the number standpoint of it, the time that it'll take, and we set the goal of how many hours we're going to do it or how many minutes we're going to do it. Can you talk to us about your process leading into to walking up to the house, to how you're talking to them, just that kind of stuff?
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I can. And what I do is I make it a point to, anytime I'm walking, anytime I'm knocking, if I see someone on a sidewalk before I get to a door, I'm exuding confidence. I'm exuding a smile. I'm getting super enthusiastic. Hello, ma'am. How's your day going? And so I don't get kicked out of very many places because I am killing people with kindness. I am killing them with kindness.
And I would say that I wouldn't be afraid of being overkind, because whatever level you think you are, you're probably a little bit below that.
Sure. Yeah. And so kind of my thought process, and I know we'll get into a couple of tricks of the trade here in a little bit, but my process is I'm going up to the door, and not to give away too much information yet, I am smiling, I am beaming from ear to ear, and I am knocking on the door hard, but not too long, and I am saying, hello, how are you doing today? Or, hello, my name's Cody. I help seniors in this area with their final expenses. Can I come in for a quick second? it all comes down to our last week's podcast, our last week's Train for Success podcast, the ask. Sometimes people will think I'm nuts. Sometimes I will actually walk in. I will knock on a door. Someone will answer the door. They will be so polite and so nice that before I can even get a word out, I will say, "Hello, ma'am. Can I come in?" Without saying and people are going to think I'm nuts. Without saying my name, the name of my company, or why I'm there. "Hello, ma'am. Can I come in?" "Hey, can I come in for a quick second?"
Good.
I mean, if we're prepared, if we're smiling, if we're enthusiastic, "Hello, ma'am, how's your day going? I'm Cody. I help seniors with their final expenses. Can I come in for a brief second?"
Which sounds totally weird that people would just let you in their house. But you have to remember that back in the day, hearing a knock on your door was something exciting. Yeah. It meant that somebody was coming to visit you, meant that you might have had somebody just driving through. It's not like today where the door knocks and we try to mute the TV real fast so they don't think we're home or anything like that. So the clientele that we're focused on with our final expense policies are usually a little bit older. They have a little bit of nostalgia for somebody that shows them respect, that is smiling, that's nice, and wants to spend some time with them.
Typically it's someone 55 plus, and they normally have, they're normally middle to lower income.
That's true.
I mean, a lot of them are in senior homes. A lot of them are in mobile home park areas. Some of them are in just in an older residential neighborhood. It just varies.
Mm-hmm. And I would say don't be discouraged by it. Don't look at neighborhoods like that. Don't look at the mobile home park or the senior living and be like, "There's no money there. I'm going to walk away." Because to be honest with you, a lot of times people that don't have money understand the importance of life insurance because they've had to bury somebody and they've had to come up with that money.
Exactly. And I'm going to give everyone a sneak peek into the opportunities and how successful you can be door knocking. I made about $16,000 from cold door knocking just for fun. I just wanted to test it for a month. In the month of July of 2014. Just from doing it.
And the real question there is, if you could make $16,000 in a month, how would that change your life?
Cold door knocking. They're not even expecting it. They don't want anyone to talk to them. But I'm smiling. I'm killing them with kindness. I'm assuming they want me there. I'm assuming they're going to answer the door. I'm assuming they're going to let me in. And I'm assuming that they want to buy.
Yup, and that's a great point back to our last podcast in Train for Success. If you didn't listen to it, it was called The Ask. And we go over asking for referrals, asking for the business, asking for the appointment, and why we're scared of that and how we can do a better job at asking those things. Mm-hmm. We're about to wrap up here, but I think it'd be nice for us to, Cody, how about you just give some of your tips and tricks that made you a $100,000 earner?
Okay. Some of my tips and tricks, especially when I door knock, are, this is a funny one and a weird one, and you'll probably never hear it again. I wave at every window that I walk by, as if someone is sitting there looking at me. Even if the blinds are closed, I wave, because I want them to psychologically think, "Oh, he saw me," or "Oh, he looks like a nice kid," or "Well, he knows I'm here now, so I have to open the door." I mean, if they don't want to open the door, they're going to act like they don't see you. So if you make them think that you saw them and that you're a nice person, you will get more doors answered just by walking by and waving. What's funny is, I'll get up to an apartment, I'll wave, I'll get up to the door, it'll be empty. No one will even be in there. And people will just be laughing at me. But it works. It works so well. Tip number 2 is you have to always smile all the time. What's at this point in even earlier on in my career, I would be exhausted by the end of the day because I would be smiling so much and so nice and working so hard. And when you exude a lot of emotions and you're thinking a lot and you're always on your game and you always feel like you have to be on point, it will wear you the freak out. But it's worth it.
Right.
Another little tip is I make sure that I open the screen. If they have a screen and a hard door, I open the screen and I stand in between the screen and the door. Then I knock. And when I knock, I don't ring the doorbell. Friends and neighbors knock. Salesmen ring the doorbell. Remember that for the rest of your life. Neighbors and friends knock. Strangers ring the doorbell. And when I knock, because of the podcast, I don't know how the audio will do it, but I'll try it. I'll try knocking. I'm knocking loud because I don't want to have to knock multiple different times or several times, because the more you knock, almost the more annoying it can get. So when I knock, I want them to hear it the first time. And so I'm knocking. I'm getting their attention. My goal is to knock several times and loud enough so that it gets their attention immediately. Don't waste that opportunity. Don't waste that knock, and don't ring the doorbell at all unless you just can't ever get them to come to the door and you know they're there. The next tip is I'm overly enthusiastic. I'm borderline. My personality is enthusiastic and passionate in any way, and I come across that way. You don't want to fake it, but it's better to fake it than have a sorry attitude.
That's definitely true.
You want to be enthusiastic. You want to come across as if you are always doing what's best for people and that they want to talk to you. I get indoors just because people want to carry on a conversation with me more often than not. The next tip is as I said earlier, I ask to come in quickly and sometimes immediately. I want it, if we remember that the first 10 seconds or the first 10 to 20 words are the most important of our entire conversation, then let's get our speech down. Hello, ma'am. My name is Cody. I help seniors in this area with their final expenses. Can I come in for a quick second? That's really brief. I'm not giving a long sales pitch. You want your pitch down to a science.
Right.
You want it 15 seconds or less. Really, if you can get down to 7 or 8 seconds, that's optimal. That's ideal. And you want to ask. Everything you do, whether it's knocking on a door, whether it's asking someone to buy, whether it's making a cold call, ask them for what you want. And I know I'm hinting on our last podcast again, but that's such a lost art, kind of like door knocking, is people forgetting to ask what you want. We live in America. Ask for what you want so you can receive what you want. And sometimes I'll even ask them. They may say no. And then I may carry on some more conversation, or I say, okay, well, who do you have? How are you preparing for your final expenses? Then I'll get into asking them another question, because they don't want me to come in the door. Well, then I'm going to try to ask them questions at the door, and then here in another 36 seconds or 60 seconds, I'm going to ask to come in again. Hey, ma'am, you've been very, very nice, very kind. If I promised to only take up about 60 seconds of your time, and you can set a stopwatch and kick me out at 60 seconds if you want, can I come in for just a quick second? Who's going to say no to that?
Right.
If you're asking like that and you're prepping and you're asking multiple times, I've asked 3, 4, 5, 6 times to come in someone's home. I always eventually get in. It is super rare that I get up to a door, I knock it, and I don't get in. People are going to think I'm nuts for saying that, but I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Wow. Man, if you guys want some tips, go back and listen to what he just said. Those last 4 minutes, those are nuggets. Those are nuggets of goodness right there. Thank you so much, Cody, for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe.
Definitely. Go down low, subscribe. We're releasing great content. If you haven't heard our podcast yesterday from our Tales of an Insurance Agent, Ladies of the Night is probably one of the best stories that we have from the field thus far.
It'll be the funniest insurance story from out in the field that you've ever heard, guaranteed.
Right? Man, door knock when other people aren't going to door knock. When it's hot outside, people are going to let you in their house because they feel bad. They respect anybody that's working in 110-degree weather. They're going to give you some Gatorade. They're going to give you some water. Exactly. That's the time you want to door knock.
I've even heard agents, when everyone's in the office, say it's raining, they go out and door knock, and they stand under the gutter while it's dripping on them just so people feel sorry for them. Well, I don't do those things, but I've heard of some crazy door knocking stories.
That'll probably make you sick. I'm not suggesting that. But thank you for listening to Training for Success. This is Sylvester Lane with my co-host Cody Askins. We're so glad that you guys sat and listened to us. Like us, subscribe to us. Follow us on Facebook at Secure Agent Mentor. Like I said, you can find all of our resources, our contact information, our phone numbers, all on secureagentmentor.com. We even have a live chat there that we'd be more than happy to sit and talk with you about your opportunities in the insurance business. Not only that, if we can't help you, we're going to point you in the direction of the agency or the firm that's going to be best suited for you, because we want you to be in the best possible situation.
And we know in the insurance business, there's a lot of times where you feel alone, where it's tough, it's trying. We make sure that you don't feel alone. We've got several agents that we communicate with on a daily basis because we know we've got so much knowledge, tools, resources, tips, and strategies over the last 6 years that most people don't find out or don't learn in 50 years in the business. So please subscribe below, follow us, call our office even, 417-883-9300. Ask for Cody or Sylvester, and be sure to check us out next week on Train for Success.
Definitely. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Hit those numbers, set those goals. Let us know what your goals are. We'd be more than happy to help you with those. Take care. Bye-bye.